this settlement, but consulting with one may help maximize any amount you may be due. This is your chance to receive full compensation for your yield loss. Please act right away to make sure you can obtain compensation. Visit dicambasoybeansettlement.com to learn more or file a claim. That's dicambasoybeansettlement.com.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at jmike1400.
That's right. You can also check us out on Facebook, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, or YouTube, jmike 1400. And you can check out audio and video at yourfortdodge.com. That's yourfortdodge.com. That's right. We're live there, and we'll have recordings there later. And you will be able to see, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful face and body of Rob Jones, who is our news and sports director.
Who has the face and body for radio, Mike, not video.
Well, I've told you a couple of different times I've been out doing a live broadcast somewhere, and this pretty girl walk over to me and say, "Boy, I listen to you every morning, but you sure don't look as good as you sound." And I always have that great comeback. Well, neither do you. Or one woman out in North Carolina told me, I imagine someone much slimmer. She said,
I always get people thinking I'm older and like 6'5". That's the two consensus things. Like that I must be 6'4" or 6'5", and I must be 55, 60 years old. I don't know really why that is, but that's usually the consensus.
We've had a couple of female announcers here over the years, and there's guys out on the farm just fell in love with them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought to myself, I wonder if they'd fall in love. I mean, they'd write fan letters and even a couple of marriage proposals over the years, you know. And I say, well, boys, you got to know that this girl is a real sweet girl, but she's about 3 axe handles at the shoulders and probably weighs more than you do. So I've always made it, since I weigh about 225 now, I've always made it it's a point of privilege to not date women who weigh more than I do. And I don't think you ever should do that.
Well, that's your opinion, Mike. I'm not going to go into that. I think everybody should do what makes them. Man. People should do what makes them happy, Mike.
Well, there you go with that moderate tone again. This is talk radio, Rob.
It is talk radio.
We got to stir it up a little bit.
You got to stir it up.
I do. We don't do moderation here. It's always drama. It's always drama. That's the key to Rush Limbaugh's success. I mean,
being polarizing.
It's that, but he's the best presenter in radio. Him and Paul Harvey were the two people that can engage with. They knew how to use their voice and sense of timing to draw the listener in. There's very few people who can do that.
Yeah, I've always said Rush, from a fundamental standpoint, he's great. Whether you like his content or not, that's irrelevant to the point. When I listen to him, I listen to what his delivery's like, what his fundamentals are like, and it's great. I mean, he's great at that part of it.
Yeah. Rob Jones, of course, news and sports director, so we're going to talk a little sports here, and it's always good to have Rob in when we're talking sports. So, first of all, let's get to the NFL briefly, and then we're going to have to talk basketball if Nevin and Randy are listening out there somewhere, because they're basketball junkies. But it's getting down to the crunch, and the only real question is Patrick Mahomes, going to be able to play football? I haven't heard, really.
I haven't heard today either. I've been looking. I think that's going to be something that's going to be announced probably closer to this weekend. I think they're going to want to keep that close to the vest as they can.
I suppose that's true. If Mahomes plays, and I'm almost sure that he will, Kansas City's going to do back-to-back. I mean, they're going to have him do back-to-back Super Bowls as far as I'm concerned. There's some good – I thought maybe if anybody was going to be, it was going to be the Browns, frankly. Baker Mayfield has matured. He's got a strong arm. He knows how to run the team.
They got a pretty good cast around him.
That's right. Myles Garrett is still a tough guy on defense. And, they had Kareem Hunt, which I wish they'd have played him more. He was former running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, who the Chiefs let go because he kicked some woman right in the butt, I guess, which was not a good idea. But he got to come back with the Browns. He did real well.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns are a talented team. I think they're still probably another piece or two away from being what Kansas City is, competing with them.
Right.
I think you're probably right. If Mahomes plays, Kansas City's probably the favorite. But I'm telling you, I don't know why, Mike, but I have had this feeling that Tampa Bay is going to win it.
Tampa Bay's going to win it.
I just have this feeling that they're going to win it. Like Brady looks like Brady looked like 5 years ago. Like he is found the fountain of youth, or maybe it's other things. I won't speculate on that, even though this is talk radio, and I could, but I won't.
Are you saying Brady's a cokehead?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he may have some supplements here and there from time to time.
We better clear this up. No, Tom Brady is not a cokehead. But God, the radio said he was a cokehead. No, I didn't really say that. I was kidding around.
No, and the only reason why I would even say that I think that that's a possibility that maybe he took a supplement or two. He's 43 years old.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to be able to do this when you're 43 years old. Nobody is.
Here, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes Google this: Tom Brady's daily diet. He's got some food on there I never even heard of.
Well, he can afford it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I could never afford to buy the things that he's eating.
Right.
But he married a supermodel, I suppose, had a couple of dollars herself, and he's been making big money for years and years.
True.
So, yeah, LeBron James, for example, has a staff around him. He has a dietitian. He's got a personal trainer. He's got all these things. And he's still playing ball. What is he, 38? Yeah,
no, he's not that old. He's younger than I am.
Well, how old are you, 36?
Yeah.
Oh, I think
LeBron graduated in 2003 from high school and was in the NBA draft, so he's got to be a year or two younger than me.
We got to Google this to find this out. But anyway, really, we want to focus on local sports.
Okay.
You're the voice of the Dodgers right now.
I am.
And, of course, being in the Metro Conference with those Des Moines schools isn't really in our best interest, but we got no place else to go. So here we are.
It's the suburban schools that are kind of the haves, and everybody else are the have-nots,
That's
if you
right.
will.
That's right. So they played, the Dodgers played Urbandale.
Yes, and the girls beat Urbandale last night. First time they've beat them since 2017, so that's a big program win last night. The girls played, Mike, amazing in the first half. I don't think in the time I've been here, even going back to last year, I've seen them play a better half of basketball than the way they played in the first half. They were on fire. Came out, built an early lead, 23-3, had a 17-point lead then at the half, and really dominated for most of the game. And in the second half, Urbandale started to come back a little bit, kind of made a run. And I think Fort Dodge got a little bit complacent. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that they took the foot off the gas a little bit, and I told Coach Messerly, and I talked today, this morning, and was talking about it. And I told him, having coached in high school as I have, it's very hard to get high school athletes to lock in for the entire four quarters, especially when you get that early lead. It's very easy to get complacent with that when you have that early success. And I think that it's hard to get high school athletes to continuously play as hard when they have that early lead. So I think that they got a little bit complacent in the second half, and some shots weren't falling, and Urbandale took advantage of it. They cut the lead all the way down to 7, but in Fort Dodge's credit, they made the plays they had to make to keep that run where it was, and they hit some free throws. They were good at the free throw line down the stretch in the fourth quarter, which is always important. We're able to knock those down and win the game there. So a big win for Coach Scott Messerly and Fort Dodge basketball, the girls program last night over Urbandale. And there's a little retribution because last year Urbandale beat them pretty badly down there. So
they've had some good kids over the years, Urbandale.
Well, and they had two sisters last year that one graduated, the other transferred now. But those two sisters were like 6'2" or whatever, and they both could really play. And so they were a tough matchup. And then the boys' game last night, Urbandale shot the lights out in the first half, hit 9 threes, got an early lead.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were hitting last night. They had one guy that hit 4 in the first half, just one guy, and they hit 9 as a team. They were hitting, and then they just kind of played with that lead. And they're really – they're not incredibly talented. Like if you looked at Urbandale and you looked at some of the other teams at the top of the league, the Southeast Polks of the world, the Waukees, the Ames, they don't have the same athletes, but they're really well schooled. They can shoot the ball well, and they really move the ball well, and they don't make a lot of mistakes. To beat Urbandale's boys, you have to be better than them. You have to have more talent than them. They're not going to beat themselves at all. And Fort Dodge just doesn't right now have the talent to just out-talent people. And when another team hits 9 threes in the first half,
that's a bunch.
That puts you in a bad way.
By the way, we were both wrong on LeBron James. He's 36 years old.
Oh, 36 years old.
He just had a birthday December 30th. Born in 1984. What year were you born in?
83.
83. Okay. Well, we weren't that far off, I guess. You were closer than I was, of course, but 36 is still pretty old for a pro athlete.
Yeah.
And again, he takes him
Good
and
care of
Brady and
himself.
wonderful care, and they can, as you said, afford it. I don't know how much LeBron has made or is worth right now, but it's millions and millions of dollars, way more than I get.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, a lot of guys do that. I mean, that's part of the investment in yourself. I mean, if you're going to compete at that level for any length of time, you've got to do that. I mean, lifestyle is just as important as anything else when you're a pro athlete.
I always wondered, Rush Limbaugh, we were talking about him earlier. I think he got a contract for $56 million over a 5-year period. Just ridiculous or something.
Okay.
I don't hold my feet to the fire on those contract terms because I'm speaking from memory, and I usually get in trouble when I do that. But he doesn't look like he's a physical fitness guy. He doesn't look like he's hired a dietitian at all.
No.
The poor man's got stage 4 cancer. I'm not trying to make life difficult, but
he sits in a chair and he doesn't, run up and down the floor or try to throw a football. I mean, that's a little different deal.
Quite a bit different. Quite a bit. So the St. Edmund kids, we got a new announcer over there this year. Greg Woods.
Casey Miners. Casey joined us right before the football season, has been with them since football, and he's doing basketball too. Now, I filled in for him this past Saturday because he had another commitment when the game from Friday last week got snowed out and got rescheduled to Saturday. I went and filled in for him up in Clear Lake. Went up there to the St. Edmund games, the girls and boys, and then came back to Fort Dodge and did the Dodger boys Saturday night. So I had kind of a double dip there for me. And Casey did the Monday night game against Manson Northwest Webster, and he's slated to do pretty much all the St. Edmund games unless if it's a reschedule and he has a previous conflict, because he got obviously does other work outside of what we're doing here. So if he can't make it, we'll see if he can make it Saturday, because they do have the reschedule from last night.
That's right.
Against Clare and Goldfield Dalles. They've got them Saturday afternoon at 1:15. Girls get a tip off, and then the boys will follow on Saturday. So that game will be on Sunday 99.7. Right now, I'm not 100% sure whether KC's going to make it or whether I'm going to fill in.
You're going to get stuck with it, huh?
Well, I wouldn't say stuck with it, but yeah.
What? You get a Saturday afternoon off? That's impossible. We can't even imagine that, can we?
Not just a Saturday afternoon, just an afternoon. Period.
Oh man. Well, maybe it'll pay off for you, Rob. Maybe I'm talking to the next Rush Limbaugh of sports.
I'm definitely not in that caliber, but it is about getting better. Every time I get a chance to work, I'm trying to get better. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing there, and I enjoy it because I know a lot of the St. Edmund coaches, and I like to get a chance to do St. Edmund games because usually I don't get that opportunity. So when I get a chance to do that, that's a nice opportunity there.
Well, you do a 1-hour talk show every Friday over here on KVFD, which I have listened to that more than once, several times now.
Yep, Dodger Weekly.
Yeah, you do a great job, and I tell you, you've improved greatly from the first week or two you were doing it. Of course, you were trying to do it every day then.
Yeah, and I didn't really know what they wanted me to do. I mean, because I hadn't.
Did you suggest it to the boys
downstairs? Oh, no. I was told this is what you're doing.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, for a guy out of the area, that's hard. I could do it because I grew up around here.
Right.
I knew all the guys, but if you don't know the people.
And so I was piecing the puzzle together, and I've done a lot of sports talk radio. I've never done community-based radio.
Yeah,
that's what that show's been about. So it did take me a little time to kind of get used to it, and now I've got a little bit of a format going for it now, and it's once a week. Big thing is there's only 24 hours in a day, no matter who you are and where you're at. There's 24 hours in a day. So with everything else I had going on, it became a real struggle to try to book that show, format that show, and prep for that show, and then do that show every day. Became kind of a struggle. So we moved it to once a week, and it's worked out a lot better.
You're on for the hour, right?
Yeah, the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but people have mentioned to me over the years, well, all you do is talk. And I always say, you want to try it? You jump in there for 3 hours.
It's a lot harder than you think.
It's a lot harder than you think it is. And it doesn't matter if you have a guest or not. You can't depend on guests to carry your show. You're barking up the wrong tree if you do that.
True.
But if you want to sit in here for 2 hours talking to a microphone and nobody's calling, you better be entertaining or informative or something.
Yeah, and you've always got to have a fallback plan too, because you never know. I mean, it's live radio. You never know what's going to work, what isn't, and who's going to maybe show up and who isn't, and that kind of thing too.
All
when
the
you got somebody
time.
booked. So you have to adjust to it. And having been in the sports talk format for years, which what I did for the first 6 or 7 years of my career is pretty much all I did was work on talk shows. So I knew kind of that end of it, but it was who is relevant to what subject matter in this particular place, because I don't know. I'm new.
Right.
And so it took me a bit to figure that out, but I think we're going along a lot better than we were in the beginning.
Oh, without a doubt. No. You improved that Friday morning show by a power of 10, I think. Well, it's just mainly because of you have a familiarity with the area. Now, what have you been here, a year or two?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. Oh, that's right. You came in the summer, didn't you?
Yeah, summer of 2019. Got here in June.
All right. They probably told you the winters were mild, wouldn't they?
Well, I was preparing for the worst in the winter, and last winter was not really bad. Like this winter's already worse than last winter, and we still got probably 2 months of.
Oh, this winter is not bad. I mean, we've believe me, people up here in the upper plains, we all have our winter stories. I tell you, there's some.
Well, I would say, not that it's necessarily bad, but it's better than what last year, or it's worse than what last year was. Last year was better. Like last winter was actually really not that bad from what everybody from around here tells me.
Yeah.
That it was one of the better ones. So,
well, everybody around here remembers a couple of really bad ones in their lives. Man, there's been some really bad ones, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, what we're getting now, if we could get that or less for the rest of the winter, I'd appreciate that. Like that'd be nice, because I'm not a guy who's really used to the winter yet. I've never been in a cold climate really before.
Yeah, well, I remember when I was about 10, 12 years old, we had a bad storm, a lot of wind, and the drifts. We lived in an old 2-story house, and drifts were so high that it went right up to the roof of the house. And we kids would crawl all up on the roof, My mother would come out the door, "Get off that roof!" And we'd throw snowballs at her, which was not a good idea because we had to come in sooner or later, and she was waiting. She was waiting.
I can't imagine snow up to the second story of a house.
Well, it drifted up there. It was a big drift.
Oh,
huge,
okay.
Huge drift. No, there wasn't. I don't know. It was a significant snowfall, like a foot or something like we.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. But the wind blew so hard. It was just
okay.
50 miles an hour or something. It just blew it all up, just like a big ramp. And it formed a crust. And of course, little kids couldn't resist it.
Sure.
So we got right up there. But yeah, we drove Mom kind of nuts doing dances on the roof of the house. But anyway. I don't suppose you ran into that in South Carolina, did you?
No, not very often. Like it snows like twice a year, and everybody makes a big deal out of it, and they go and buy all the milk and bread in the grocery store. Like you should see it, Mike. Like they go nuts. Like
I've been in the South when there's a little snow or a little ice. Black ice! Oh my God!
Yeah, like if they come on the news on TV and say, "Oh, it's going to snow overnight," or "It's going to snow tomorrow," like you can't get in the parking lot of the grocery store. Dude. You can't.
Well, the folks aren't used to driving in those conditions.
No, they're not, and they either drive 5 miles an hour and can't get up a hill and back everything up, or they drive 65 miles an hour because they're driving a 4-wheel drive truck and they think they can just drive through anything.
Where I lived in North Carolina, the county didn't have any snow removal equipment, which I thought was unusual.
They don't where I come from either, because they don't need it.
Rob, thank you very much.
And thank you, Mike.
Rob Jones has been our guest. It's 3:00.
For exciting Panther sports, keep it right here on your home for University of Northern Iowa sports in North Central Iowa. The voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
This is a Fox News alert. The new president arrives at the White House. I'm Lisa Brady. The motorcade back from a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National